Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. We're watching a clip of First Take, talking about the Jets. The Jets seem to be a pretty popular topic these days. I feel as though, we feel like we were robbed last season of a big Jets, Aaron Rodgers, every week conversation, and they tried to milk it. They tried to be like, is Aaron going to come back? What's going on? This, that, and some of his other comments he's made. Now it seems like he is healthy. It's just we're kind of hitting the reset button with that narrative. And so this seems to be a common question. I don't know why. Is Aaron Rodgers, first off, this question doesn't even make sense. Is Aaron Rodgers Jets player under most pressure? It's like a weird phrasing. So I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to say here, or what the question is if they're just trying to say, is Aaron Rodgers under pressure? Yes or no? So let's take a listen and we'll break it down from there.
On the surface, it would seem that way, but I'm going to say no. To me, it's the offensive line. Whoever they put, wind up putting a left tackle or right tackle, because without those guys protecting Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't matter what Aaron Rodgers does. We saw last year, 4 plays into the season, Dwayne Brown whiffed on a block, and the Jets season was over after Aaron Rodgers got hurt. So we can talk about Aaron Rodgers, where he is in his career, and this entire team is built around him, which it is, and he gives them their best chance to win. I truly agree. And he's got to play. He may not have to be the MVP Aaron Rodgers, but he's got to play above average football. And I have no doubt that he will. He's always done that based on, if you look at his career. But it doesn't matter. If they do not protect Aaron Rodgers, whoever they put at left tackle or right tackle on this offensive line, and we can talk about Tyron Smith, show me a season that he's played all 17 games, then I'll believe it. So they have to make sure they solidify that left tackle, this offensive line. That's the most important person on this roster, because without that blocking, without that stalwart, without that protection, you could put Joe Montana back there, you could put Patrick Mahomes, you can put whoever you want to at quarterback. Doesn't have to be Aaron Rodgers. If they don't get the protection, it doesn't matter who else they put back there.
Booger, I'm not going to let you do Dwayne Brown like that. You knew that was a 3-step drop. And on a 3-step drop, if you work the right side, you damn well cannot come back to work the left side. You either throw that ball to the slant on the right or you throw it out of bounds. What did he do, Booger? Don't do Dwayne Brown like that. You know he's chopping on the backside because both guys are chopping because they're anticipating a 3-step slant. Aaron Rodgers held on to the ball too long, and then he tried to get out of harm's way. That's not on Dwayne Brown. That's on Aaron Rodgers. Guys, go back and look at the tape and see what it was. It was a 3-step double slant on both sides. Aaron Rodgers worked right and tried to come back left, which is a no-no. Now, back to our normally originally scheduled programming. Sorry to interrupt. He is under the pressure because even without that blocking, what did everybody say, Mike T? With that defense, with a quarterback, that's a Super Bowl offense. That's what everybody told me. That's why they gave up what they gave up to get him. So don't give me now all of a sudden if the offensive line, he's been yapping. They got Tyron Smith. And even if Tyron Smith doesn't play 17 games, Boog, let's just say for the sake of argument, he gives us 13. 13 games should be good enough if Aaron Rodgers is what we believe he has been and can get back to that level again. They should be fine with that defense. He's under the pressure. Now, if you want to say he and the offensive coordinator because they're a package deal, I'll give you that. But to try to put this on the offensive line, this is about Aaron Rodgers.
Just going back to the original question that Molly asked and looking at the graphic, the person under the most pressure is Robert Salah, guys. It doesn't matter how many games Tyron Smith plays or Mike Williams. If they don't get off to a good start, Robert Salah basically said it, guys, and I've been in that city for a long time. They're 1-3 at the end of September. They're 2-6 in October. I don't think he sees November. The expectations are so high because you have the Hall of Fame quarterback coming back. The guy that's under the most pressure is right there. It's Robert Salah. They haven't won. There's been a lot of reasons why. Some were in his control, some weren't. He didn't make any changes on his coaching staff. He has everything that he's asked for. There's no excuses. And there's nobody in the NFL that the first 4 weeks mean more to than Robert Salah.
Be really interesting to see how
2 quarterbacks or 3.
Yeah, as we jump to a different random clip. Yes, so I agree with that. They're trying to put this pressure on Aaron Rodgers, and and I don't mean these guys right here. I just mean like a lot of general conversation that's happening right now in the sports world. And to me, the pressure is not on. It seems like Shannon is trying to say that it's all on Aaron. It's all on Aaron. He's been yapping this, that, and the third. And it's like, okay. First off, he is coming back from an injury, okay? And I do not think that the injury will be a limiting factor in his ability to play good football. I'm under the impression that he will make a full recovery and he'll be pretty good. Am I expecting him to play like Aaron Rodgers, 10 years ago or whatever? Like, probably not. I'm really not. But I still think Aaron can ball out. I really do, because Aaron has massive ego and a massive amount of pride. He's not going to go out there unless he can ball out. He does not want to have a bad season. As long as he can still sling it and do what needs to be done, he's going to want to be out there. Now, you can make the argument that his ego and pride are so big that it's blinding him and that he thinks he can do more than he can. That's definitely a possibility, but I don't think... I think Aaron can feel that way in other aspects of his life, but when it comes to when it comes to football, I will trust his evaluation of that and trust him in that moment. So I do believe, we forget how great Aaron is, because football and sports in general, especially basketball as well, and now that Patrick Mahomes is winning all these Super Bowls, sports in general has just become, are you winning championships, yes or no? And if you're not winning championships, then you're nothing. And we don't care about anything else in between, right? All these other players can have fantastic seasons, whether it be a Brock Purdy, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, whatever. If they don't win a Super Bowl, they can't win the Super Bowl. They're bums. They're not good enough. They choked, Everyone always loves throwing that word on, choked. And then you have someone like a Patrick Mahomes, who doesn't even have a particularly good season this last season. One of his lowest seasons, if not his lowest season. Literally Brock Purdy had better numbers than him. And I don't want to hear the excuses why. We're just looking at everything on the surface level here. He wins a Super Bowl, and that's obviously seen as a mega victory, even though the defense really led the way. Again, for those of you who know Nick Wright, Chiefs mega super fan, even acknowledges that was a defensive-led Chiefs team. But yet he's obviously praised, and understandably so. He's Patrick Mahomes. We all know Patrick Mahomes is amazing, so this is not to undercut Patrick Mahomes. This is more to highlight that we are living in a current age right now where it is, you are either winning championships or you are essentially nothing. That's really what it comes down to. We see this, the quarterback that makes a Super Bowl but loses, which is still an amazing feat, still one of the two best teams in the NFL, won the AFC or NFC championship, depending on what conference you're in. And yet if they lose, he's not good enough. Will he ever be able to win the Super Bowl? If he was better, would they have won the Super Bowl? If Brock Purdy was a better quarterback, would they have won? If Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback, would they have won the Super Bowl? Jared Goff, better quarterback, would they have won the Super Bowl? And it's like, those conversations can be worth having, but it ends up being such a detriment. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is that Aaron Rodgers has definitely not had the levels of success, Super Bowl success, that you would expect from someone as good as Aaron, right? Aaron kind of came out the gate running, won a Super Bowl, was killing it, and then for years just, wasn't really doing it, has kind of come up short in NFC championship games. And then, he's won some MVPs, had some great seasons, 13-win seasons, and then, losing. And so then people just kind of be like, that they're quick to say Aaron Rodgers is overrated, he's not good, this, that, and the third. And it's a tough one. It's a tough one because we know all of these consistent greats, the true greats, and the most notable, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. They've all come from, they both have had elite coaches, whether on the defensive side of the ball with Bill Belichick or the offensive side of the ball with obviously Andy Reid. And you can even make the argument that the Chiefs DC is elite and is essentially, the best DC. And Aaron Rodgers has not really necessarily been given that. He got Mike McCarthy in. I think people maybe think Mike McCarthy is a decent coach, is a good coach, but he's not the Phil Jackson. He's not, the Andy Reid, the Bill Belichick. He's not that. And that is your detriment. That is to your detriment. It's not to say that Aaron Rodgers has, just had complete scrubs and has been on this terrible team for years. And so, how could we ever blame, we can't blame him. I'm not saying that, because he is part of the blame. But if Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes played for the Packers all the years that Aaron Rodgers did, I am not under the impression that the Packers win like 4 or 5 Super Bowls now. That Aaron Rodgers just completely drops the ball. I just don't believe that. I just really, really don't. So, I just think that Aaron Rodgers, as of late, especially since he's not playing, gets so much undue hate. And I get it. He's a divisive figure. People either love him or hate him at this point, especially because he's kind of gotten political. And so now that's kind of, you kind of draw a line in the sand there where it's like, you're either with him or against him. And it becomes kind of a messy, figure there. But I don't see all this pressure on like a 40-year-old Aaron who's coming back from, Achilles surgery, right? I mean, at this point, it's amazing that he's still playing at all. And to think that he has all this pressure now to succeed, no. I mean, I think there's maybe some pressure on himself that he puts on himself, that he wants to be able to compete and play and, be able to have at least one more good year before he has to retire. But in terms of like the sports world and New York and this or that, I'm just not seeing it. He's had an amazing career, winning MVP, Super Bowl. Like he's put in the work. I mean, like he's done more than 95% of the QBs out there. So I don't know what else you want him to do. It's kind of reminiscent and a little bit slightly different, but it's like, does LeBron James have pressure to win with the Lakers this season and ball out in the playoffs? Like, no, his legacy is written and he's already ruined. Now, if LeBron James or Aaron Rodgers for that matter succeeds in the more recent times within the next couple years, 3 years, it will be a huge magnifier on their legacy, right? It'll absolutely give a jolt up. But if you start here and they don't succeed, this year or within the next couple years, it doesn't bring them down. So to me, that's a difference. When you really have pressure, it's if you don't do something, you don't accomplish something, you now fall down. You now don't go down, right? Bill Belichick. If Bill Belichick gets another job as a head coach, he has tremendous pressure to win because his legacy will be brought down if he loses. Okay. That was the same thing with Tom Brady. Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, which now also ultimately put the pressure on Aaron Rodgers because Tom Brady was able to leave and win another Super Bowl. And if Tom Brady didn't win another Super Bowl, his legacy wouldn't have been tarnished. They would have said, he's an old quarterback. What do you want him to do? And he went to a new team. He played so great. This is great, But he won, and it was just like, oh my God, right? People lost their mind for the most part. And so now when Aaron goes to a new team, it's like, well, hey, Tom Brady did it. And same thing now with Bill Belichick. If Bill Belichick coaches, it's like, hey, Brady was able to win. And fast forward into the future, if Mahomes leaves, like, the truth is if Patrick Mahomes continues winning Super Bowls, let's say he gets to like 5 or 6 Super Bowls and they're all with Andy Reid, eventually people will start to talk and say, hey, you know what? Tom Brady was able to win another Super Bowl in a completely different city and a completely different, offense and in a completely different NFL at that point, right? Because he played for so long, so the NFL has changed. Different coaches, different everything, different players, and he was able to do it without Bill, and like they would probably use that as a knock against Patrick Mahomes. So, and who knows how long Patrick Mahomes ends up playing, compared to an Andy Reid type situation. So I just think this conversation can get kind of muddied unnecessarily, but I'm really excited for this season with Aaron and the Jets. Hopefully everyone stays healthy. We have to imagine there'll be some injuries because they are an older team with some injury history, but hopefully any of the injuries aren't this, season ending and it's just kind of typical being banged up, miss a couple weeks here or there. But I'm really excited because I really genuinely believe that Aaron Rodgers and the Jets will be a good team because that defense is locked and loaded, ready to go. And with Aaron Rodgers at the helm of the offense, it will be a good offense. I just don't know why we're expecting it not to be, outside of like cluster injuries. But that offense will be good. Aaron Rodgers is not a scrub quarterback. He is an elite of an elite of an elite quarterback. That's not a debate. And if you have to debate that, then I really genuinely don't even know what to tell you. You haven't been watching football for the last 15 years. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Who do you think's under more pressure? Salah, Aaron, the Jets organization as a whole? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really, really does help with the visibility in the algorithm. And if you made it this far in this video, that means you enjoy the content that I'm putting out. That means you're maybe a subscriber, maybe you just enjoy it, whatever. And so please just hit the like button, because it really, really does help. I would be greatly appreciative. Thank you so much, and see you next time.